Okay, I'm going to tie what I've dubbed as a dressed to kill Adams. It's a just an Adams variant. Size hook I have in the vise is a size 12 standard. I'm using 30 denier GSP. And I'm just going to get my thread started, and I want to come back to about the third position, or right about there. I like my wings to be a little further in the back on this one. But I tied a few of these, and I took some photos and put them up for people to look at. And I had, I don't know, 5 or 6 people ask how I tied it, and it's really not all that difficult. Just a few subtle changes to traditional Adams. So for the wing, what I'm using is a Hungarian Partridge, and you can go through the bird and find the kind of the modeling and the colors that you like. And I'm going to burn these to shape, but you can just trim them to shape. It's just real important when you go to burn these that you keep that stem covered with the brass. So I'm just going to slide them in there. Okay, pinch tight, knock that stuff off. That feather's a little bit larger than what I'm normally using, so it didn't all want to burn at one point or one shot. You just take your bodkin and kind of scrape it off. And then when you burn them, that way they'll stick together a little bit. And I like to do the convex sides touching, the concave sides touching, so the convex sides are facing out. It just seems to fit into the burners a little bit better, but we'll put those on here in just a second. Now you can tie these in forward or backward, but what I need to do, sorry, I just had to reposition them with my fingers, is get some of this stuff off and down to bare stem. And the Partridge can be a little delicate, so you got to be a little careful when you're working with it. And I don't normally tie my mayfly wings in going forward, but I am on this. So you just want to make sure if you burn it that you've got the fat part down. I'm just going to place that right on top and put some wraps in. That's about good. You want the wing to be about the length of the hook shank. I'm going to stop about a bodkin and a width behind the eye. Now as I wrap back, I can lift these up, and I'll build my little bump on the backside. And they want to stay like this. Now you can leave them like that if you want to, because they're going to kind of be reversed to the back. If you want to open them up, just do a figure 8 wrap or a few through the wings. And you can get them to stand back up. But I kind of want them orientated like this. I like to have these angled to the back a little bit more than having them standing straight up, similar to that fashion. Okay, next what I'm going to do is get the tail. On the tail is going to be some grizzly CDL or Coq de Leon with, it's got some nice speckling in there. And I'm going to take about 3/4 of an inch roughly and pull it off to the side of the stem and try to line these things up. A little harder to do it with the camera in the face, but I'll get there. Okay, that's good. There we go. And you want your tail to be at least the hook shank length. I like to go a little bit longer. And I'm going to tie these in starting in the front as opposed to the rear. A lot of times I'll tie my tails in starting at the rear and then bring them forward. I'm not going to do that on this one. Tie it in opposite of what I normally do. Makes this particular pattern go just a little bit faster for me. And it just shows you something else that you can do. Okay. Next, the body is just a traditional superfine Adams dry fly dub. I always end up getting a little too much on here because it's a short body. Kind of hold that tail into place while I get this body started. No extra glues or anything on this one. A lot of time I'll glue that tail into place. And I'm just going to bring it up. Pull some of that away. Right behind the wings, and then I'll bring it up in front just a little bit if I've got a little extra. It's really no big deal. Now while I'm up front, I'm going to get rid of this little hair before it messes with me. Now while I'm up front, I'm just going to take your traditional grizzly and furnace hackle or brown hackle, and I tie these in and wrap them together. I'd already lined them up, but I can't seem to keep them lined up very well once I set them down. So, and I've just prepped these standard dry fly style where I've got just a little 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch off the other side, and I'm going to line these barbs up where I want them to start on the back side, and I'm just going to tie them in. Whoa, slipped on me. I'm just going to line that up where I want them to start. Right next to each other. I'm going to tie them in on the side and sneak around. So the body itself is just a little bit shorter than normal. And before I let them go, I want to make sure I can pull and orientate them in the direction that I need them to go. Let those hang out for a second. Now I do an under thorax here, or an actual thorax I should say. And it's just a couple pieces of peacock herl. I'll tie those in on the same side. Going forward. Doing a full thorax is sort of a more traditional approach to dry flies. Maybe not traditional. 50s, 60s, 70s is what I'm referring to, but I kind of like to have it. So if you've got a little spacing in between your hackle, or maybe you want some spacing in between your hackle for this to shine through, then you have it's kind of like a little flash point. And normally I core twist this stuff, but it just adds a step here, and it's not going to really need it a whole lot. Switch over to my hackle pliers here. we'll just twist them up, and then the stems will keep them in place. I'm going to take them up right behind the wing, and then I'll come in front. And then what I like to do is I like to figure eight the wing with the hurl as well. You gotta be careful because it can mess you up pretty bad doing it that way. But it does seem to help get these wings situated and orientated to the back with a little patience and working. I'm just going to work them just a little bit more. There we go. Finish this off. You want to leave enough room up front so that you can tie off your hackle and still have room for a soft hackle. So I know some of you people that are very talented can get seriously close. I could probably go a touch closer, although it'll make it a little bit more difficult to do when I'm shooting the video, so I'll kind of lay off a little bit. I'm just going to move those wings up. Now I'm going to come back to my hackle. And I'm going to get rid of these guys right away because I don't want them there. Okay. Now I want to pinch these wings and move them to the back and use the hackle stems to kind of hold them in that rearward position. So there's a lot of hackle on this fly. You'd make less if you wanted to. That's really just kind of up to you. I'm going to trap that fiber, and that's okay. We'll get rid of him in a minute. Oh, just moved my entire fly. I can kind of grab everything and work it back. Trapped a few more barbs than I normally do. Well, boo for that. Let's get in there and get those out. And then to make sure I have enough room, trim out any of these extra ones that are in my way. Probably put one wrap too many in. Can't really go back now though. Okay, that'll work. And then I put a double half hitch in right where I want all that hackle to stop. And so the body's kind of a short body, but it extends with the tail, and it looks pretty neat. And I'm sure it'll fish well. So like I said, this is just kind of a designer type fly. So I had some people ask how I tied it, so I figured I'd show them. That way they can experiment too. And the next for the final part is just a Hungarian partridge. I'll tie this in. That one barb that's going to come forward and mess everything up. I'll fold that over because the partridge is kind of weak. Hopefully it doesn't break on me. I start to wrap it. Okay, now I'm going to take the side that's going around the shank. I'm very gently going to pull all those barbs off. And now I can open this up, and you want to kind of tease it open and around. Or as you go around, I should say. Try to keep them from all sticking together. And you can go 1 or 2 turns. You don't want to put too much on here. Come on, open up. Open up, splay out. There we go. Oh, come on, I didn't do that. But you did. So I'll go 2 just for a little extra because it's going to be a fishing fly for a friend of mine. Give him a few extra hackles to get knocked off. Okay. Okay. And that's really it. A couple extra steps involved from your traditional atoms. But tying some of these things is fun sometimes. Okay. And if it sinks, it'll have a bunch of movement in the water. There it is. So I'm going to put a double half hitch in just to lock it in place. Color my thread black. And I'm just going to build a little head here. Don't have to get super crazy with it. And I'll add a little UV for the head. Normally I just do super glue, but I'm out of super glue. And I keep forgetting to pick it up when I go to the store. So, but before I do that, I just want to make sure that all this hackle is splayed open and kind of giving that full dressed look. Before I accidentally glue something into place that I don't want glued into place. And yeah, I'm going to put a little UV on real quick here, and we'll call it done. If you like the videos, always appreciate a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. You know, give this one a try. And, you know, have fun with your tying. See what you can do with your, how you can push things to try something different. That's kind of what this is. Just trying something different, so I went for it. I'll zap this real quick. I don't know if this video turns out to be somewhat popular. Maybe I'll do some other just kind of fancier adaptations to patterns. If people like it, I don't know. We'll see. As always, everybody, happy tying. Take care. We'll see you next time.